My name is Corwin Blackthorn, and I haven't been able to breathe properly since the moment my wife Seraphine died in my arms 3 years ago. But standing in Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, the world's busiest airport, I had never felt more alone. I was holding the compass she gave me on our first date, the one I carry everywhere, when my phone rang. My son's voice was ice. "Dad, stop looking for us. We're already gone." But what shattered my soul wasn't his words. It was hearing his wife laughing in the background, saying, 3 years of changing his diapers, pretending to care about his boring stories. Thank God that's over. Then I heard my son, the boy I sang to sleep every night for 18 years, whose tears I dried, whose fears I fought, laugh and say, "Best acting job we ever pulled. He actually thought we loved him." I fell to my knees right there, in front of thousands of strangers, because I realized my son hadn't just left me behind. He'd been performing love like a Broadway show, and I was just a fool who bought a ticket. The departure board towered above me like a monument to everyone else's happiness, each destination a promise I'd never keep. Atlanta's massive airport sprawled endlessly around me, gospel music playing softly through speakers, mocking the southern warmth I'd believed in my whole life. My arthritic fingers clutched Seraphine's compass, brass worn smooth from 43 years of my thumb rubbing it for comfort. I checked my phone again. 11:43 a.m. Draven was late. My son. My only child, the boy I'd raised alone after Seraphine passed, working triple shifts at the paper mill in Savannah until my heart gave out. The boy whose medical school I'd paid for by selling our family's antebellum home that had been in our family since 1842. The boy who now lived in my carriage house with his wife, Vespera, rent-free for the past 4 years. The phone vibrated in my trembling hand. Draven's face appeared on the screen, the photo from his white coat ceremony, when he still looked at me with what I thought was pride. "Son, where are you, Dad? Stop looking for us." His voice was arctic. "We're already gone." The airport noise vanished. My damaged heart skipped, then hammered. "What do you mean? I'm standing here with our tickets to Martha's Vineyard, our bags." "There is no hour, Dad. There never was." Then I heard it. Vespera's voice, honey, laced with cyanide. 3 years of changing his diapers, pretending to care about his boring stories. Thank God that's over. And then, Lord forgive me for living through this, I heard Draven laugh. Deep, genuine, cruel. Best acting job we ever pulled. He actually thought we loved him. My knees buckled. I fell right there, in the middle of the world's busiest airport, clutching Seraphine's compass so tight it cut into my palm. A woman rushed over, asking if I was having a heart attack. In a way, I was. "Draven, please." "The performance is over, Dad. No more pretending to care about your war stories, your stupid compass, your pathetic need for family. We're free." The line went dead. I knelt there, unable to rise as 200,000 daily travelers streamed around me. A little boy in a tiny pilot's uniform stopped, offering me his juice box with the pure kindness children have. His mother pulled him away, but not before he said, "Don't be sad, mister. My grandpa loves me, real, not pretend." Even a child could see through me, a fool who couldn't tell real love from performance art. Security helped me to a bench. My suitcase had burst open in my fall, spilling the gift I'd brought, Seraphine's recipe book, annotated in her handwriting that I wanted to share with Vespera. The pages scattered, her grandmother's peach cobbler, her father's Brunswick stew, love written in measurements and temperatures. If you're watching this and your parents are still alive, call them right now, not later, now.
Tell them their love matters. And please, hit that subscribe button. Not for me, but for every parent who's wondering if they're loved or just tolerated. Don't leave. Not yet.
The taxi driver kept checking his rear-view mirror as we drove through Savannah's moss-draped streets. His name tag read Antoine, and his Gullah accent was thick with concern. "Sir, you need the hospital. You don't look right." I laughed, broken glass in my throat. No hospital can fix a man who just learned his whole life was a lie. My reflection in the window was ghostly. White hair wet with sweat, eyes empty as the family crypts in Bonaventure Cemetery. This was what discovering 3 years of performed love looked like. The carriage house appeared through the tunnel of live oaks, my property in Savannah's historic district, bought with 40 years of mill wages, maintained despite my failing heart. The place where Seraphine and I had dreamed of grandchildren playing in the garden. Now it sheltered 2 actors who'd just taken their final bow. Inside, their presence mocked me. Vespera's designer bags scattered on my grandmother's fainting couch. Draven's medical equipment in my study. The power bill I paid funding his practice. Their photos on my mantle. The wedding I'd paid $75,000 for, selling Seraphine's jewelry to afford it. I climbed to their loft bedroom. The door stood open, revealing their carelessness, clothes everywhere, my mother's pearl necklace, given to Vespera, tossed aside like costume jewelry, empty bottles of the 100-year-old bourbon I'd been saving for Draven's first child. On their bed, first-class tickets to Martha's Vineyard. The credit card receipt showed my number. They'd used my money to buy the trip they'd performed excitement about for months. My hands shook as I picked up a photo from their nightstand. Last Easter, the 3 of us in Forsyth Park. I'd cooked for 12 hours despite my heart condition, just to maintain the illusion of family. In the photo, Vespera's smile was an actress's smile. Draven wasn't even looking at me. The kitchen still held the scent of that morning's breakfast, shrimp and grits, Draven's favorite since childhood. I'd stood at this stove at 5 a.m., chest tight, struggling for breath, to send them off with what I thought was love. They'd eaten mechanically, rehearsing their vacation plans while I served them like hired help. My phone buzzed. A text from Draven. "The gardener comes Thursday. Handle it. Also, Vespera's workids need attention." No acknowledgement. No explanation. Just stage directions for the fool still playing his part. I collapsed into Seraphine's reading chair, the one Vespera called depressing and ancient. The velvet was worn where my wife used to rest her hand while reading to me. This chair had held real love. Now it held an old fool who'd been audience to his own manipulation. My chest hurts writing this. Not from my heart condition, but from remembering that moment of realization. If you've ever discovered that love was just method acting, you understand. Please hit that like button for everyone who's been someone's practice performance. Subscribe, because this story isn't over, and leaving now would be abandoning someone mid-fall. Spanish moss swayed outside my window at 3 a.m. as I sat at my grandfather's Confederate desk. The irony wasn't lost on me. Another war to fight. Papers spread before me revealed the extent of my exploitation. Bank statements showing hundreds of thousands spent on Draven and Vespera. The deed to the carriage house, somehow now bearing their names, added last year for insurance purposes, Draven had said. My laptop glowed as I logged in to Coastal Georgia Bank. 27 years of loyalty. Miss Patricia, the branch manager, had attended Seraphine's funeral. She'd be heartbroken by what I was about to do. But first, their voicemails, 9 of them. Draven's voice, irritated. "Dad, the Vineyard Resort needs a card. Just call them." Vespera, syrupy. "Corwin, the spa here is divine. Could you wire money? Self-care is health care. You'd understand if your heart wasn't so weak." Each message was another performance, and I was done being their audience. I dialed the bank's emergency line. My voice was steady, cold as a Savannah winter. "Cancel all authorized users on my accounts immediately." "Sir, that includes Draven and Vespera Blackthorn, especially them." "Changes are effective immediately, Mr. Blackthorn." Next call, my lawyer, Atticus Beaumont. We'd served together at Paris Island. He answered immediately, alert despite the hour. "Corwin, what's wrong?" "Time to change my will, Atticus. Can you see me at dawn?" "This about Draven?" "I have no son. Just an actor who played one for 3 years." "Jesus, I'll clear my calendar." I walked through my house, cataloging their props. The garage, Draven's BMW I'd bought for his medical school graduation. The basement, Vespera's shopping conquests, tags still attached. The sunroom, her meditation studio, that I'd never seen used for anything but storage. My phone exploded around 7 p.m. Martha's Vineyard time. "Dad, the cards aren't working." "Dad, this is serious." "Vespera, Corwin, this isn't amusing. What have you done?" I didn't respond. Instead, I made breakfast. Country ham and red-eye gravy, Seraphine's recipe, and ate in peace as my phone rattled with their panic. The doorbell rang. Mrs. Covington from next door, holding her famous chess pie, her face creased with concern. "Corwin, honey, you looked poorly yesterday. Everything all right?" Sweet Mrs. Covington, who'd held my hand at Seraphine's graveside. "Actually, Mrs. Covington, I'm finally waking up from a 3-year performance. And the show's over." Mrs. Covington reminds me good people exist. People who don't perform kindness, but live it. If you believe real love still exists, please subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to know they're not alone in discovering they were someone's rehearsal. Don't scroll past. Not yet. Jasper Winthrop appeared at my door at 11 p.m., 3 days after I'd canceled their cards. Draven's medical school roommate, enabler of every entitled decision, stood on my porch in his Armani suit. "Mr. B," he said, using the nickname from when I'd taught them both to sail. "We need to talk." "There's nothing to discuss, Jasper." Behind him, his Porsche purred in my cobblestone drive. "They're sleeping on the beach, Mr. B, on Martha's Vineyard. Do you understand what you've done?" "What I've done?" I said slowly. "I've stopped funding a 3-year performance. What I've done is learn my son's love was as fake as a $3 bill." He stepped closer, cologne suffocating. "They'll sue. The house is partly theirs. Through fraud." I showed him Atticus's findings, forged signatures, elder abuse, fraud. February 15th, I was at Memorial Hospital having cardiac surgery, the same day I supposedly signed over deed rights. Security footage proves I was under anesthesia. His face paled. Draven would and did. He's been performing for 3 years, Jasper. I was just too blind to see the show. After he left, I sat in darkness, processing another revelation. They'd planned to declare me incompetent. The vacation was to establish a pattern of confusion while they seized control. My phone rang. Martha's Vineyard area code. "Mr. Blackthorn, this is Amanda from the Winnetou Resort. Your son and daughter-in-law owe $15,000. They insist you'll pay." "They're mistaken. They're no longer my concern." "Then we'll involve law enforcement." "Do what you must." By midnight, their texts had changed.
Vespera, we're sorry. Please. Draven. Dad, they're calling the police. Please. Vespera. We'll pay you back everything. Draven. Dad, I'm scared. That last one almost broke me. Almost. Until I remembered his laugh, his words. Best acting job we ever pulled. I need to pause. Writing this brings back the weight of discovering your child's love was scripted. If you've ever learned you were someone's long con, you understand. Please subscribe. These stories need witnesses. Share this, and don't leave before the ending. The locksmith, Bobby Lee, finished installing the third deadbolt as Mrs. Covington watched from her garden, pretending to tend gardenias that were already perfect. Solid work, Bobby Lee said, handing me new keys. Nobody's getting through without your permission. The boxes took all afternoon. Each item I touched was poisoned with performed affection. Draven's medical school honors. I'd driven him to every interview, despite my heart. Vespera's wedding dress, preserved at my expense for a granddaughter they'd told me they were too busy to have while planning their vineyard escape. I arranged everything on the front lawn, under the massive oak draped in Spanish moss. A funeral for false love. At 6 p.m., an Uber pulled up. They emerged like refugees from their own theater production. Clothes wrinkled, Vespera's makeup streaked, Draven unshaven. Draven tried his key. The confusion when it wouldn't turn was almost worth 3 years of deception. What the hell? That's when they saw the boxes and the sign. Performance over. Take your props and go. The pounding started immediately. Dad, open this door! Mrs. Covington called out sweetly. Everything all right, Corwin? Perfect, Mrs. Covington. Just closing a 3-year run of a bad show. I finally stepped onto the porch, screen door between us. I don't have a son, I said quietly. My son died the moment he admitted to performing love for 3 years. Vespera lunged at the screen. You senile old fool! We'll destroy you! You mean like you've been planning with these? I played Harrison's recordings, their voices discussing, faking my incompetence, laughing about their performance. Draven collapsed among the boxes. Dad, please! Was any of it real? Any moment in 3 years? His silence was my answer. I'm crying now. Actually crying. Because this happens. Parents discovering their love was someone's long audition. If you're watching, if this touches you, please subscribe. Share this. Don't leave yet. In Atticus Beaumont's office, surrounded by law books older than Savannah itself, I signed my son out of my will. Everything goes to the Telfair Museums and the United Way, I said. Draven gets nothing. 2 days of silence, then a process server. They were suing for unlawful eviction and emotional distress, seeking exactly my net worth. The court date came quickly. They'd told everyone I was senile, vindictive, but I had evidence, airport footage of me abandoned, crying, bank records, the recorded confession about their 3-year performance, and then Seraphine's journal, discovered while packing. I worry about Corwin when I'm gone. Draven barely visits unless he needs money. That woman, Vespera, looks at him like he's an ATM. I fear our son has learned to perform love rather than feel it. God protect my sweet Corwin when I'm gone. The judge's face darkened with each piece of evidence, especially the airport recording, their laughter about 3 years of acting. Case dismissed, she said. I'm referring this for elder abuse prosecution. Draven grabbed my arm outside. We're homeless, he whispered. Vespera's pregnant. My heart stopped. A grandchild. I hope you're a better father than you were a son, I said, pulling free. And I hope your child never has to wonder if your love is real or just another performance.
3 weeks later, I was tending Seraphine's garden when Vespera appeared, alone, wearing a simple dress instead of designer clothes. "I'm trespassing, I know," she said. "Draven doesn't know I'm here. What do you want?" She sat uninvited on the garden bench. "The truth about the performance." "I know the truth. 3 years of acting." "No," she said. 3 years of me directing him, threatening him. The performance was mine. His love was real. My hand stilled in the soil. I grew up in Detroit's worst neighborhood. When I met Draven at that medical conference, I saw my escape. But Draven, he genuinely loved you, always has. That phone call, I wrote every word, stood over him with a knife. A knife? She pulled out her phone, showed me a video. Draven at the airport gate sobbing, her voice off camera. "Say it exactly as I wrote it, or I'll disappear with your baby. Make it believable." Every "I love you" from him was real. Every hug, every call. I made him ask for money, made him distance himself, threatened to leave, to hurt herself, to destroy his career if he didn't play along. She handed me an envelope. Evidence. Text messages of my threats, videos of him crying after following my scripts, proof that his love was real, just held hostage. Why tell me? Because I'm done. I'm leaving him, leaving the baby, going back to Detroit. She stood. "Your son loves you. He's weak, not fake. There's a difference." That night, Draven called. "She's gone. She told you?" I told her. "Dad, every word on that call was hers. She had a knife, said she'd hurt herself, blame me, and take the baby. The laugh was fake. I threw up after. But you know what wasn't fake? Every single time I said I loved you. Every single time." Love can be real even when actions are forced. If you believe in complex truths, please subscribe. Share this. 1 chapter left. Please stay.
6 months later, December in Savannah brought rare frost to Seraphine's garden. Draven knelt beside me, learning to tend her heirloom roses. We worked mostly in silence now. Words felt less important than presence. "Dad, let me get that," he said, taking the heavy mulch bag. I studied my son. 6 months had changed him. The entitlement was gone, replaced by something genuine. He worked construction now, real labor. His hands had calluses. He lived in a small apartment near River Street, paying his own way. The boy was finally becoming himself, not Vespera's puppet. At 34. "The baby comes next week," he said, quietly. "She signed away all rights. Are you ready?" He looked up with eyes that had learned the difference between performance and truth. "I learned from someone who raised me alone. I think I'll manage." Mrs. Covington appeared with her Saturday offering, sweet tea and wisdom. "Looking good, boys," she said, meaning more than the garden. The reconciliation hadn't been instant. Our first meeting after Vespera's revelation was brutal. Draven showed me everything. Every threat, every moment of coercion. It didn't erase his weakness, but it explained it. That night, I opened Draven's letter. "Dad, for 3 years I let someone weaponize my love for you. She held it hostage, made me perform actions that betrayed my heart. But the love itself, that was never performance. Every I love you was real, every hug. The words she made me say were scripts, but the tears I cried afterward were truth. I'm not asking forgiveness for my weakness. I'm asking for the chance to show you the difference between performed actions and real love, to prove that the boy who loved you never left. He was just imprisoned by my cowardice. Your son, always, even when I couldn't show it. Draven." My phone buzzed. It's a boy. 6 pounds, 8 ounces. Corwin Draven Blackthorn II. At Savannah Memorial, Draven met me in the lobby. We embraced, not performance, but truth. In his arms,
My grandson looked up with eyes that would never wonder if love was real or rehearsed. "Hello, little one," I whispered. "I'm your grandfather. I promise to teach you the difference between real love and performed love, and to be strong enough to choose the real thing. Always." Through the window, dawn broke over Savannah, Spanish moss swaying like Seraphine's laughter in the breeze. The garden would bloom again. Real flowers, not silk ones. Real love, not performance. This is where I leave you. Tears on my face, hope in my heart. If this story moved you, if you believe love can be real even when trapped in performance, please, I'm begging, subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to know that weakness isn't the same as fakeness. Hit that like button as a promise to recognize real love, even when it's held hostage. Thank you for witnessing the difference between a performance and a heart. Remember, real love exists, even when it's forced to wear a costume.